This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Thank you, Chris. Welcome to DBL. It is Friday. Friday!
Yay!
The smallest celebration on earth. August 28th, I'm Tori here with Jeff, and Lindsay joins us from home. Lindsay, how you feeling?
I'm great. I'm having a great morning. Business is booming. We got paid today. I can't complain.
That's great. She said something funny. I can't hear her, so she said
like
something
it.
funny.
Yeah, well, let's address it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I can't hear anyone, so I'm going to go like this when Lindsay talks.
Oh, you can't hear when Lindsay talks. Well, let's be honest. You got here, what, at 5 in the morning to get ready to...
Wow. Insults starting early.
No, but I'll help you out. I get it. It's
Thanks.
tough when you can't hear Lindsay.
We're live. This is what happens. So
yeah.
Jeff's going to help me out with some smoke signals and some hand signals. Lindsay, feel free to keep going. I'm just going to nod along. Here we go. There's a march happening in D.C. today, right now, and we want to get to it just to show you. It looks like several thousand people are gathering on the National Mall. They're all there for the March on Washington, and it is to commemorate the 57th anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s March on Washington, where he spoke those famous words, "I have a dream." Man, do they resonate. I hope many people are wearing masks and as much as they can and having social distance because we're still in the middle of a pandemic. Meantime, last night was the president's time to shine at the RNC. He accepted his party's nomination with a 70-minute speech on the South Lawn of the White House in front of a packed crowd of about 1,500 guests. Now, most were not wearing masks. And unsurprisingly, he took a ton of shots at Joe Biden. Let's take a look.
We have spent the last 4 years reversing the damage Joe Biden inflicted over the last 47 years. Biden's record is a shameful roll call of the most catastrophic betrayals and blunders in our lifetime. He has spent his entire career on the wrong side of history.
Biden responded on Twitter saying, remember, every example of violence Donald Trump decries, has happened on his watch, under his leadership, during his presidency. Jeff, what do you think of his speech last night?
I listened to the whole thing. You know, I listened to both sides. I listened to Joe Biden's whole speech, and I listened to Donald Trump's whole speech. Listen, I don't want to get into... I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on this whole thing. There were some certain things that stood out for me. I mean, let's just address the elephant in the room with the masks. Everyone knows how I have been diligent wearing my mask. I'm trying not to spread this, not only for myself, but for my family. So right off the bat, I didn't like everyone not wearing masks and not be tested. If they were all tested, different story, but I didn't like that. 2,000, 1,500 or whatever it was. And I'm not, listen, it is what it is. I'm going to talk about what spoke out to me a little bit. And I don't want to get in the weeds a little bit. He mentioned very briefly cancel culture in there. And that's another thing that sticks out to me. He mentioned speech codes, soul crushing, like to conform. I don't agree with the soul-crushing part, but there is something that we need to do in America. Again, I'm not trying to spark a debate here, Lindsay, but I feel like I'm a little bit scared to talk on this show. I feel like I'm a little bit scared to talk in a group if I'm out somewhere. And if I say the wrong thing, it could mean my job. So I am a little bit nervous about that, where our culture is going. I get what's happening in America, but I could only speak for myself. I'll put that aside now. And the one thing I really liked, a woman on the moon. We're going back to the moon, Lindsay. We're going back to the moon.
He wants to go to the moon because it might be inside out. I don't know what's going on. Lindsay, we'd love your take. What's your take on that?
I think a lot of people voted Republican in 2016 and then maybe switched to, in the midterms in 2018 to Democratic vote. And so what the RNC did, I think, pretty brilliantly this week is just try to position themselves in a way to say that Trump is not, or President Trump is not the worst part of himself that he might have been, and that Ivanka said things like unfiltered instead of other words that were used to describe him. And so I think that he stood there, and we're seeing a very intense battle that's about to happen between now the Democrats and the Republicans, and he kind of stood his ground and said exactly what he plans to do. Now, it's up to everybody viewing it to fact check and find out what information they're going to actually believe at face value. But he did have a parade of Black, Latino, and women people speaking on his behalf, which I thought for people that don't tune into the news every single week and just watch this was brilliant on his part, especially because he's been bashed largely by those communities.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I will say this, just what you said, you got to do your own fact checking. The social, we're going to come socialists, we're going to take your guns, or Biden's going to have open borders. That's just not true. Do your own fact checking on both sides, right? But the thing that just didn't pan for me was the idea of him being the savior of this America that's turbulent and violent and in a crossroads when it's actually his America. He's had 4 years. He's in charge. So that didn't pan for me, but I'd love to hear from you guys and how you felt about the entire evening. Well, speaking of the president, the family was there last night. His daughter Ivanka introduced her father as the people's president and even defended his tweeting. Let's take a look.
I recognize that my dad's communication style is not to everyone's taste, and I know that his tweets can feel a bit unfiltered, but the results speak for themselves.
But there was another moment that everyone is talking about on social media. Check out this exchange that took place with First Lady Melania Trump greeting her daughter-in-law on stage. She smiles, she nods, before making a series of interesting expressions. Speaking of which, there is a new book coming out that alleges all sorts of tensions between Melania and Ivanka. If you didn't know, there's something called Operation Block. Basically, they're saying in this book, allegedly, that during the inauguration of Donald Trump, Ivanka tried to get the spotlight, and Melania positioned herself to block her from all the different angles. I don't know what's true. I have heard the rumors is they don't love each other. What do you think of it, Lindsay?
I mean, that facial expression, I don't like to read into people's facial expressions because I know some people say when I'm not smiling, they think that I'm miserable or angry, but that looked pretty specifically like, okay, girl, I can't stand you, but we're going to stand here and pretend. I don't know, but I also like drama, and I told you I would read all the unauthorized biographies and everything. So, listen, I'm here for it. I really want to know what happened. I want to read that book. I want to know about Operation Block Ivanka. I will say that Ivanka is very predominantly in this role inside of this presidency, and more than any other daughter I've seen, I think, in recent history anyway.
Yeah, and I do have to say, I don't think they've ever seemed warm to each other. Jeff, would you categorize that as an insult, a little snub?
I don't know. I think people are looking too much into this.
You do that to me every day when I walk by you.
Yeah, but people know. I do it out in the open, you know what I mean? But there has been times on my show when we're talking, or our show, when someone's talking, but me specifically is what I'm talking about, and I'll be looking off at like a cue or looking at something else, and they're like, he's not even paying attention. Look at this guy. He doesn't care about these issues. And you're misreading what I'm doing, right? So if you're looking into, she gave a different look. I mean, you're up on stage in front of millions of people. I think people are looking too much into it. But hey, it's Friday. Go crazy, you know what I mean? Get nuts on the internet.
Hey, he gets all Italian. I love it. All right, and I do want to hear what you all thought about also the green dress, because it was the color of the green screen. So a lot of people used that as sort of a fun little Photoshop thing that's going on. How much time do we have left?
We're just going to keep it here. You didn't think Melania looked pretty last night?
I thought she looked stunning. Can I just say, that woman can
But you didn't say.
Oh, I think I think Melania wears clothes like an angel. Do I agree with anything she says? No, but she can wear clothes. That woman can wear clothes.
We're out of time because you can't hear, but I'm glad you gave her a little bit of a compliment. Hey, a little bit.
She can wear clothes.
She can wear clothes like an angel.
Coming up on DBL, a young mother's wife vanishes only to turn up 3 weeks later, bound and branded on the side of the road. The search for answers coming up in True Crime Chronicles. Plus, baby named drama. Find out who's accusing Katy Perry of being unoriginal when it comes to her daughter's name, Daisy. I wonder if her name is also Daisy. Let's take an look at our empty studio. Most of our employees are still working from home. During the pandemic, we made it through another week. Let's give ourselves a pat on the back, y'all. Good for you. You do it at home, too. We'll be right back.
Introducing the future of
Song Daisies from her new album Smile that dropped today. Daisy, as we know, is also the name of her daughter, who was born on Wednesday. But get this, an Australian radio DJ says Katie may have stolen the name from her. Huh, Jeff? Katie met radio.
I left you hanging on purpose.
Katie met radio host Fifi Box while she was on a promotional tour down under. She also met Fifi's 2 children. The host says Katie was really fond of her youngest, Daisy. Take a look.
It's funny, Feb. I just had a feeling because you were there, and we obviously recorded an interview for the radio. But then I thought when she released a song, I went,
Maybe
no,
not.
she wouldn't do a song and the baby. But we've got another Daisy.
She doesn't seem mad, but if you had kids with...
That's a pretty big ego to think that Katy Perry...
Yeah.
And it's not like your kid's name's kombucha. It's like Daisy. That's pretty common. What an ego on that, Ozzy.
It was a little like much to think that she stole it. Were you scared of having any names taken from you? Were you like protective?
Yes. Oh, it's a big thing.
Yeah, okay.
It's a big thing. You try to rhyme it with other names and see if it matches any body parts, right?
Yeah.
You know, like all those things.
Totally. Lindsay, do you have any names that you and Colin, you know, if you're thinking of having kids, would want to keep close to your heart?
Yeah, I mean, I've thought of names since I was little, like that I won't tell anybody because I don't want them to steal. And I've seen people get in real arguments having kids around the same time that have the same name. Totally. That's a really specific name. And I do think that Katy Perry stole this woman's baby's name, especially with a picture in the baby's face like that. Katy Perry's a human and has the same blood that we all have. Just because she looked at a baby and said, oh my God, I love this, she stole the name.
And she was pregnant at the time. Now, also, is that not just flattering? What if someone named their kid Leighton?
Ooh, you almost slipped up there. You almost slipped up. That'd be flattering.
Right.
That'd be flattering for me.
Right?
But I mean, Daisy is a pretty common name, right?
Yeah.
I think it's fairly common.
But Jeff, what if a celebrity came on the show and you introduced them to your kid and then they took your name like a year later? You would be like, oh, I inspired that. Come on.
I would feel honored, though. I would like that.
It's flattering.
It would be very flattering. But I did hold names close to our chest. So, like, Lawson we liked, Leighton we liked. And so when I tell other people, they're like, what's your number one? I'm like, Tom. And they're like, oh, my God, Tom beat me up when I was in high school. I'm like, I didn't even ask for your opinion, and I'm not even thinking about naming him Tom. So get away from me.
Bertha, coming up on DBL, a mom disappears while jogging, but then she turns up alive weeks later. The mystery unfolds in True Crime Chronicles.
This was when
Welcome back to DBL. Sherry Papini's story is one of the most mysterious unsolved cases in California. The mother claims she was abducted, held captive, and then released. We're taking a fresh look at the case in DBL's True Crime Chronicles.
Sherry Papini was described as a supermom by her husband Keith. The couple was happily married, raising 2 kids. On November 2nd, 2016, Sherry went for a run in the small town of Mountain Gate in Shasta County, California. Later that day, she never picked up her kids from daycare. Her husband frantically called her, but no answer. So he tracked her phone and called 911.
So I just drove down there and I saw her phone with her headphones because she started running again. And I found her phone and it's got like hair ripped out of it, like in the headphones. So I'm like totally freaking out, thinking like somebody grabbed her.
Police issued a massive search and investigation.
As the details continue to surface and new tips come in,
Keith knew his wife would never abandon their kids and feared the worst.
Bring her home, bring her home. Just bring her home.
22 days later, a trucker spots Sherry on the side of a rural road, 150 miles away from home. She was bound at the waist by a chain, a hose clamp was fixed to her ankles, and she had been beaten, bruised, and branded on her shoulder. Surveillance video shows Sherry running frantically near an interstate just moments before she was found. Sherry claimed she had been abducted and held captive.
we do not know who the captors are. We do not know a motive at this time.
This is the sketch of the 2 Hispanic women Sherry claimed to have kidnapped her.
She is very relieved to be returned home safely and be reunited with her husband.
Home, safe, but yet so many questions unanswered. Why was she abducted? And how did she escape?
You never think you'd be in a position like this. I would never wish this feeling upon anybody.
Earlier, Sam and Erica spoke with an investigative reporter in California who's been working on this case. Take a look.
We are joined by investigative reporter Anandarachida from ABC 10 in Sacramento, California. Thank you for joining us. Now, it's been almost 4 years now. How is Sherry doing today? What are the latest developments in the case?
Yeah, Sherry is barely seen out of her home, and her husband Keith has just talked to reporters just a few times since everything happened. I did reach out to the Shasta County Sheriff's Department and the FBI, who are investigating this case as well. And they said they have no more information to give out to the public, but that this is still an open investigation.
Ananda, investigators did find traces of DNA on Sherry's clothes. So will they ever retest that with new DNA technology similar to what was used to catch the Golden State Killer?
That is a possibility. So the DNA that was found on Sherry's body when she was found, they tested it through a system called CODIS. It's FBI's combined DNA index system. But it works with only a small pool of people because it's relatively new. It was created in the 1990s. And if you're not in the system already for a crime, then it wouldn't be able to match that DNA to people in the system. So genetic genealogy has really been a game changer for a lot of agencies. And there is a possibility that they may have be testing this but not making it public. It's something that a lot of agencies are doing right now, and we're hearing about it once they make that arrest. So the big case, like you mentioned, was the Golden State Killer case.
What's crazy to me is all the controversy surrounding this case. Some people say that Sherry fabricated the kidnapping because she reappeared on the road one day. How have police responded to that theory? Is there any credence to it?
So they have responded to some of the theories. One of them is whether Sherry left willingly or she was kidnapped. So just a few days before she disappeared, she was talking to a man from Michigan and texting him. The Sheriff's Department did follow up on that lead, and they say that he was not involved in her disappearance whatsoever, and that even her husband is not considered a suspect in this case too. There was also some speculation on whether she could have been targeted for human trafficking. There was also possibility of this being involvement of a cult. So when she was found, she was bruised, battered, her hair was cut very short, and she was also branded. And the Sheriff's Department only said branded, but they wouldn't specify what kind of branding was found on her. They said that that is confidential, but they are following up on that lead.
Wow.
But as for now, the Sheriff's Department wouldn't comment on the human trafficking or whether this was a cult, but they are still saying that this is an open investigation, and there is a $10,000 reward leading up to information that would ID those 2 suspects.
Heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. I just pray that justice is brought. Thank you so much, Ananda, for bringing this case to light. Very important. And for the latest on this case, DBL Nation, visit abc10.com. You can also listen to the new podcast episode, Sherry Papini Kidnapping. Just search True Crime Chronicles on your favorite podcast player. Thank you, Ananda. We'll be right back.
Promotional.
Welcome back to DBL. Research shows there's been a surge in road trips and pet adoptions this summer. So when it comes to traveling with your pet, what's the best way to do it? Well, we're chatting about it on today's DBL Drive, sponsored by who, y'all?
CarShield.
Jeff, say it.
I didn't know that was a thing. I thought that was Al's
Say
thing.
it.
CarShield.
That's right. First, prepare your pet for a long trip.
Wow, you made me conform. You are totally
You're
canceling
a
me.
sheep now. Take them on shorter car rides leading up to the big one. The second tip is buckle up. Your pet should be safe and secure in a well-ventilated crate or carrier. Make sure it's big enough for your pet to stand, sit, and turn around in. If you prefer no crate, keep them in the back seat with a harness attached to the seat belt. Lastly, prep a travel kit that includes water, food, a bowl, plastic bags, and a first aid kit. When it comes to traveling for peace of mind, get an auto protection plan with CarShield. CarShield protects the high costs of auto repairs for their members. Call 1-800-505-9619 for a free quote. I love that. Linz, we got some great comments I wanted to get your opinion on. Sue Ann from Facebook says, I thought President Trump gave a great speech. I changed from the opposite party, to this party less than 2 years ago, as I feel too much hatred on that side and too much pushing for socialism. What do you think about that comment?
I mean, I think watching both of the debates, both of the conventions, you can see that they were both clearly intentionally attacking one another. So I definitely wouldn't sway on the side of either one, because that was the agenda, obviously, and the most important point for both of the conventions.
Yeah, that's true. Migdalia says President Trump blames someone that is not in office for his shortcoming, not voting for him. So we got a variety of opinions. That's DBL for you.
Hello.
DBL's new every day. We'll see you same time, same place on Monday. Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Yes, I was. No.